We're in the middle of the WSL CT here in El Salvador, and I'm going to be doing a Q&A while I fix me sticks. I've got a few busted sticks, I've got some solar revs from the surf shop, my jet ski license, and I'm going to be giving these boards a little TLC in between my heats. So I got the quarters coming out, not tomorrow but the next day, so I'm just going to be fixing up these boards, answer some questions that you guys asked on Instagram. So stay tuned while I fix me boards and answer some questions. Current playlist or hype music at the moment, it's different every event. And sometimes I feel like I lock into one song that just hypes me up for the event. And at the moment it's Superstar. We'll play it right now. This is what I've been listening. We'll throw a few clips of me the last few heats. This is what I've been listening to get in the mood over here in El Salvador.
If you are what you say you are, a superstar, then have no fear. The camera's here and the microphones, and they wanna know. A fresh, cool young Lou trying to cash his microphone check 212. Wanna believe my own hype, but it's too untrue. The world brought me to my knees. What have you brung you? Did you improve on the design? Did you do something new? Where you name it on the...
How many boards I bring to El Salvador? I bought 9. So epoxy, 5 511s, 2 6.0s, and 1 6.1. Those now. Woo. Now I got a nose to do as well. I'm going to use these utensils. Actually probably perfect for it. That's what I'm done actually. Yeah, definitely feel pressure as a surfer and as an athlete just competing. I feel like everybody feels pressure that's competing at a high level, that wants to do well, and if they don't, they're lying. So yeah, I definitely feel pressure, and I think pressure is just a part of sport and trying to do your best. So we learn through my years. I've learned to just deal with pressure. As pressure is a part of the process, and it means that you really care. You get nervous before heats. I feel that pressure, but I just use it as an opportunity to just go how grateful I am to actually be in a position where I do have that pressure and things are expected of me. I expect a lot out of myself in those moments. But it's also probably important just to let go of that pressure as well. That pressure is probably just created. That pressure is really just created by myself internally a lot of the time. So it's a pretty natural human thing that we all have when we're trying to do things that we really care about on a big stage in front of a lot of people. So the answer is yes. And I work with sports psych to help just go through and regulate myself through that pressure, and then just focus myself back on the task. And what's that? Surfing heats, and just doing what I know is actually going to help the outcome, rather than just focus on thinking about all the pressure that's building up and all the things I'm thinking about. Try and just let go of that and actually just move and do what I need to do, which is catch good waves, surf my waves as well as I can, and just do my best no matter what. 7 to 511. So how do I reset after each heat or comp? So each heat's a little different, but I have a process where I like to write things down. So I use my journal to write everything down, and that way I can get it all out of my head onto the piece of paper and create that closure. Because sometimes if you did really well, you want to continue just to relish in that heat and just keep talking about it, thinking about it. So it's good to get some closure, whether it's a really good heat or whether it's a really bad heat. Sometimes really bad heats, when you have absolute shockers, just do circles and circles in your head thinking about it. And although writing it down won't completely eliminate all of that, for me I find writing things down, everything I did well, everything I want to improve on, getting all out of my head onto that piece of paper and almost closing the book and using that as a bit of a symbol of that I've closed that chapter and now I'm moving on to the next heat, the next event. And that's a really good way that I find allows me to create closure on the heat and move forward to the next one with a lot less kind of just hangover from what happened in the heat prior or the event prior. So that's a good way that I like to do, just to reset and through heats and through competitions. Alright, tips for landing air revs.
going about all the different things that you need to do to land air revs and all the different stages, but if we're talking about landing specifically, some of the most common things that I see people get wrong, or people struggle with, is one, their feet come together when they're landing air revs. So when you land air revs, you need to have a nice wide base, because the wider the base you have, the more stable you're going to be when you land. You can absorb the force and the landing when you're actually coming down to land. So if you feel like that's something that you struggle with, think about making sure you're just conscious and aware. So when you're going into that, just remember, so when you're going into that air rev, before you take off, before you go into the session, if that's something you struggle with, I want you to just be conscious of it through the air rev, okay? Just go, okay, I'm going to be conscious of trying to keep my legs wide throughout the rotation, because they're going to want to come in, but just be conscious and mindful just to keep them wide and keep reminding yourself that. It might not happen straight away, you might not get it, but continue to remind yourself throughout the session, because that's what it's going to take to be able to create that nice solid base so you can start landing your air revs. The next thing I think is super important is that a lot of time when people are doing their air revs, I just don't think they're truly committing. So when you go for your air rev and you go to land and maybe you fall off, I want you to ask yourself, did I truly 100% commit to that landing? Because a lot of the time people don't commit to the landing, and I don't too sometimes. And people start blaming all the different types of techniques that led to them not landing the air rev, but it was purely their intention. They weren't 100% committed to landing that air rev. So until you 100% commit to land that air rev, you'll never land it. So think about going into every section going, okay, if this is the right section for an air rev, I'm going to 100% commit. What that looks like is making sure I stay over my board. I don't lean back. I fully commit to staying over my board through the rotation and through the landing, because that's what's going to actually help you land, rather than thinking about all these different technical things. Purely have that intention to make the air, and what that looks like is staying over your board through the end of the rotation. First reveal of my sketchy home jobs. It's still not cured enough probably, but I'm going to let that dry for a little bit longer. It's a very good question, and if I'm going to be truly honest, sometimes I do, well, in the past I definitely have surfed not to lose, and I feel like that was the first time I went on tour, was that I was surfing like very protective, like I had something to lose and I didn't want to lose it, so I'd always kind of go safe, whether I'd started really big on a wave and then I kind of got safer down the line. That's something I'm really trying to come back to tour. That's something when I come back to the tour, I really try to challenge with myself, and as well through my Challenger series to get back here, is to really just push my surfing and surf to win and take the risk to win. It's something in sport that I heard Ivan Cleary talk about, is taking the risk to win, and I think it's something that's super important for all athletes, especially myself. Coming back to the tour is just taking that risk to win. So I've been trying to do more and more. I've tried to actually just take that risk, whether that be throwing more risk with my surfing, whether that be like airs, or taking risk with the way that I choose my waves. It's always a balance you're trying to find when you're surfing heats, and I try and push myself and be conscious of trying to surf to win. Yeah, the more and more I'm trying to push myself to surf to win, rather than just be that protective, and that's something that I want to get out of my like kind of approach, is that surfing to lose or just being protective with the way you surf. I think it's super important. But you can tell when people be safe on tour. That's the difference between high level surfers, in my opinion, is they're really good at taking risks and surfing to win. So as much as it might sound stupid to not to surf to win, sometimes it's just natural reaction to different stuff. When you really want something so bad, you just want to get it, grab it and hold on to it, and you think, oh, if I just do this, I'll be able to make this heat and get that result. But it's not the case. You need to challenge that internal thought to go, no, I need to continue to take risks. I need to do what's sometimes scary, and that's what's going to actually help me be a winner in the long run. Favourite things about Evans Head, my favourite town in the world. So Evans Head's where I grew up. It's where I learnt to surf, and what I love about Evans is just how small town it is. I know everyone. I go home all the time, and just love the support that I get from the Evans Head community and Northern Rivers community, really. So I love going back to Evans. The waves are probably not as good as other places around, like go south to Yamba and places like that. The waves are really good as well. Ballina and Lennox, quite well known for their quality waves, but Evans kind of isn't as good, but a little less crowded from time to time, and I just love going back to Evans. It's where I do board riders. It's where I've got some of my best mates are from Evans still, and I just love everything about Evans Head. Small town and good people, good waves. It's where I'm from. Gonna go throw the boards undercover now. Taking a little bit longer to cure than I was hoping. So when you go check the surf, check the waves, answer more of your guys' questions on the way to the beach. If I was planning on a longer surf, is that personally I hate surfing on an empty stomach. So I'm not one of these surfers, people that can like get up early morning, not have anything in their belly and go for like hours and hours of surf. I think making sure you're properly fueled. So one of my favourites is just like peanut butter toast and some honey on top. Perfect little pre-surf like fueling option, easy in the mornings. I obviously love a coffee, so smashing a bit of caffeine is always good for me, boost my energy. And then other than that, I think like making sure that you just, if you can, going for a long surf, like whether it be you're going on a surf where you're surfing a beachy all day and you can come in and have some snacks, having some snacks handy and lots of water, lots of electrolytes on the beach is always going to be super beneficial to sustaining a long session. I don't think, like, obviously when the waves are absolutely cooking, you got to just, sometimes you put in massive hours in the water, but I think from a actually getting better at surfing point of view, I think from an improvement perspective in your surfing, something I see a lot of everyday surfers do is just surf for hours and hours and hours, but they don't actually ever, they're surfing for so long, and they sometimes start to actually do some really bad habits in their surfing. So I don't know if always surfing longer and more is the answer to getting better at surfing, but to answer your question, I think just making sure you're nice and fueled before you go surf, and then making sure you're keeping up your hydration throughout the session, because you sweat a lot more than you think when you're surfing, and you don't really feel it because you're in the water. So making sure if you can come in for drink breaks with electrolytes. That's what I do when I'm doing big sessions on the beach, big coaching sessions. I make sure I've got snacks and fueling options on the beach, so I can make sure I keep everything replenished and well hydrated and well fueled. Having coconut waters. I can actually I'm not going to throw it in here, but Project 6 coming soon. It's going to be online. You're going to be able to get everything you need to know about surfing performance. What fins I rub when it's smaller and a bit gutless is I jump on the DHD honeycombs, or I ride the AM2s. So the AM2s have a little bit of a smaller back fin, better for release. Oh, I'm on the right side of the road. Fuck. AM2s give a bit more release, they've got that flex. I usually ride glass a lot of time on tour, so going to that honeycomb technology, a lot more flex, a lot more load up and spring back as well. The AM2s have that little bit of a smaller back fin, so it's a lot easier for you to get release in your turns when it's small, and just give you that bit of release through your turns. What do I do on lay days? A little bit different depending on where we're at. Here in El Salvador, we've been just hanging with the boys in the house, so we've been playing a bit of bananagrams, keeping the downtime, and then I sometimes edit some videos for socials and do a bit of stuff like that. But if we're somewhere we've got access to a golf course, love playing a bit of golf, and then go for surfs. I'm about to go for a surf for lay day here today. I'm about to go for a surf. Morgs actually going to set me the drill. I'm going to do a little fun video, a little fun drill at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Morgs is going to set me the task. So between surfing, golfing, hanging with the boys, playing some not video games, playing some bananagrams or some card games, that's what actually gets done. But I'm about to set up my stick. Morgs has assigned me a 6'1", so the waves are only like 3 foot, but he's got me on a 6'1", a 2-inch step up. That's what coach wants, so coach gets it. How many sessions, if I'm surfing all week, am I focused on stuff? For me, I'm somebody that probably likes to, I'm a surfer that thinks a lot and always wants to be improving. So I feel like if I'm not thinking about one single in particular thing I'm trying to work on, I definitely always surf with like intent, like I'm trying to surf like I'm in a heat almost. So I'd say most sessions I'm surfing with like a lot of intent. I'd say probably a good 80% of the time, or 75% of the time, I'm thinking about something, trying to work on something. And I'd say the rest of the time, I'm just surfing and just like surfing naturally. Probably just depends to where you're at, what part of the kind of season you're in, depending on how much training sessions I'm doing. Something that I've been working on a fair bit is just trying to actually get out of my head and just surf and just let my surfing and natural read on the wave come to life, instead of putting all these different emphases on trying to get better in all the things I'm not doing and trying to reinforce some of the good things I'm doing. And
with like that in my surfing. So to answer the question, I'd say probably 75% of the time I'm thinking about trying to do something and improving on something. But I find when I do that, I need to do it for short blocks. So if I'm going for a 2-hour surf, it's very hard for me to stay focused for 2 hours. So I might go out for the first 30 minutes and I go, okay, I'm very focused on doing this one type of technique for this 30-minute block. And I really try and chunk my sessions and be really purposeful for a short amount of time. And sometimes I'll only go for 45-minute surfs or however long and just keep it really short but really purposeful. And that's how I find I get the most out of my sessions, because I see people trying to go for like 3-hour sessions and work on stuff, and you just can't stay focused for that long. I don't care who you are, it's very hard to stay focused and mindful on one thing for so long. But yeah, for me, tips to work on things is just simplify it, go out thinking about one thing, shorter sessions, and keep that real intent and purpose. Some gamesmanship, I feel like that's a little bit like, definitely comes into it a little bit, depending on what competitors you're competing against. Some competitors are way more gnarly and like to do a lot more games and different stuff like that. For me personally, I think like fighting for the inside and putting pressure on your competitors, sitting on your competitors, they're sort of things that are like non-negotiables that all surfing athletes kind of need to do to be competitive in the sport. But some people take it to the next level and just super savvy and super gnarly to compete against. People that I think of is like people like Gabe Medina. I've had a heated fight with him where I was deepest in the peak and he was sitting on the shoulder and he had priority and he was basically just waiting for me to go the wave, and then he took off on the wave, took off, kicked out, and then I ended up getting washed all the way in. So there's people that are super smart and savvy like that, and I learn from experiences like that. So I'm like really grateful for opportunities to surf against competitors like Gabrielle and even Felipe. Had the pleasure of surfing against Mick and these people that are really smart and savvy. So you get to learn a lot from those type of experiences. And I definitely learned a lot surfing against people like Gabby, and that helped put it into my act and helped me become a better surfer and competitor. Just corner.
Caltex wants fucking the coach's corner instead of drill. I reckon he's got to get a 6.5 on his first wave. That's the drill. You can have a bit of free time after that. Right. Focus on one wave.
One wave, 6.5. What's a 6.5 out there? What have I got to do?
I reckon you got to get at least 2 majors on the wave. Yeah. Whether that's like at the start and finish strong, or 1 huge on the start, a couple in between turns and then a good finish.
Shit, on the 6 line too.
On the 6 line, let's see.
Where's the best spot? Where am I sitting?
Just in that midsection.
Midsection, like kind of the wide bit.
Yeah, the wider bit.
Don't bite off more than you can chew.
One's like a bomb. Yeah. Like a semi-bomb. Good shape. Yeah. Long wall.
Have I got a time limit?
No time limit.
No time limit. Wait.
Don't hold back. I'm the harsh judge, mate.
Alright. It's been set. Task has been set. 6.5 first wave, Morgs, and I get a bit of free time. Whoa. Let's go. It's going to be interesting.